Hi, I'm Rebecca with Organizational Learning and Talent Development. In the first two parts of the STAR method, preparation for an interview, we talked a lot about the importance of giving concise answers to questions that we might be asked during an interview, as well as we took a more in-depth understanding of what the STAR method stands for. If you'd like to watch those videos, I provided them for you in the description below. Now in this final part, we're going to be taking a look at two different role plays where we're going to get to see and show how this particular technique can be effective for you. Now in this first scenario here, you're going to see the interviewee is applying for a position for a team that's going to be very collaborative and is going to integrate a lot of employees who've never worked together before. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How about you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you coming in for the interview this morning. I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you. So the first question is, can you tell me about a time that you had to collaborate with a coworker who was difficult to work with?
Sure. I mean, even though I did have to work with a difficult coworker, I toughed it out. I stuck to my tasks, and we were able to successfully complete the project despite our differences.
So as you can see in that scenario, the interviewer could not see whether the interviewee was more of a problem bringer or a problem solver, nor having really any idea what, if any, types of strategies or skills that were going to be used to navigating that situation. So let's take another look at the same scenario, but now we're going to be using the STAR method technique. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Well, great. I appreciate you coming in for today's interview. I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
So the first one is, can you tell me about a time that you had to collaborate with a coworker who was difficult to work with?
Sure. I had to work with another programmer who complained a lot about our projects, and once I took the time to get to know him as a person, it turned out he was actually going through a tough time at home, and once he learned that I actually cared about him, he honestly wasn't difficult anymore. He and I were actually able to schedule our tasks to take into account some of his needs outside of work. And actually in the end, he was actually able to cover for me also when I had a conflict outside of work. And we worked so well together that we ended up being the most efficient programming pair in the company. And I honestly just think it's important when you're working collaboratively with someone that you create an atmosphere that's open and authentic and really take into account what each other's needs are so that you can both meet those needs and at the same time take care of the projects and create results.
So as you can see, that was a much better response as the interviewee shared both not only the problem, but also talked about the specific steps that they were going to take to creating a solution that resolved the issue, as well as they tied it back into the new position that they were actually applying for. In this situation, the interviewer now has a better understanding of how the interviewee is going to act and or even maybe respond in future situations like this. So when it comes to behavioral interviews, the STAR method is a great tool to helping a person craft their responses so that they are more compelling and succinct while thoroughly answering the interviewer's questions. You might want to consider writing down your stories first and bulleting out each letter of the STAR and then practice saying those answers aloud. This is going to allow you to edit as well as streamline so that your answers are going to seem more concise and focused and clear when you are delivering them. While questions are going to, vary from time to time, it's always good to have about 5 to 7 different stories that you can pull from that's going to help you in delivering confident responses no matter what the interviewer is going to ask. Now, for more information on the STAR method or even about behavioral interviewing, I encourage you to check out the links that I've provided for you below in the description.